You don't go from being the mother of the year to the person that won't even tell you where she's at.
Where are your kids?
No comment.
No comment? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
And she says, sometimes I think it would just be better just to put my kids in a car and go off the side of a cliff.
The whole United States is looking for the kids, and she's on the beach in Hawaii.
I don't know what happened to those kids. I know that there's people who do, and they're not talking.
She's in handcuffs. That's all I need to know right now.
As to bail, bail is confirmed in the amount of $5 million.
These two missing children who lived here in the valley have not been seen since September. Now their mother, Lori Vallow, is sitting in jail in Idaho over their disappearance.
And all new tonight, we have the inside story of how the FBI convinced someone in Lori's inner circle to wear a wire as investigators tried to find her missing children. This is a story you'll see only on Arizona's Family because the people involved spoke only to our chief investigative reporter, Morgan Lowe. So Morgan, how did all this play out?
Yeah, Chris, there weren't a lot of people who were very close to Lori Vallow last fall when all this was happening, but one of the closest was her niece, Melanie. She moved to Rexburg, Idaho, and lived right next to Vallow just as the kids disappeared and the FBI was closing in. How close are you to Lori?
My mom passed away when I was 9, and Lori is one of the closest things to her.
Melanie Pulowski is Lori Vallow's niece. She and her husband, Ian, agreed to answer our questions about events that took place last year.
Kids are missing. People's doors are being kicked down because they can't find the kids.
There's a lot to discuss. The death of Lori's husband, Charles Vallow, the death of Lori's new husband, Chad Daybell's last wife, the death of Lori's brother, but most importantly, the disappearance of Lori's children, Tylee and JJ.
I didn't move down there to be in a cult. I didn't move down there to be solely by Lori.
I think I've reported that you followed her to Rexburg. Is that not accurate?
It's not. I mean, I had my own reasons for going, and I love my Aunt Lori, and it absolutely was a benefit to be close to her. She's been somebody that's given me unconditional love.
But when Melanie moved from Gilbert to Rexburg, something was amiss. Lori's children were gone, and Melanie's new husband, Ian, started to get suspicious that something was off with his new family.
And I guess it all began when my mom called me. She's saying, that Melanie's ex-husband, Brandon's making claims that she's in a cult, that Lori's in a cult, Chad's a cult leader, and, that they, tried to kill him, that they plotted and killed Charles.
They told Ian they were going to the police, and so should he.
I said, okay, I'll go. I'll go sit down with the police. I didn't know the FBI would be there. But, I was open to sharing everything that I knew at that point.
And that was when Ian made a fateful decision.
So they gave me a recording device. I recorded some conversations with Chad and Lori.
Did you have reservations about recording those conversations? I mean, this is your new wife, and this is your new family, and now you're going to record them secretly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of hesitation, but at the end of the day, I saw that as the fastest way to get from point A to point B. Nobody knows where these kids are. There's serious concern about their safety. I've just married Melanie, and I love her with all my heart, and I want to get her out of this. For 2 weeks, I've been thinking this through and looking for anything I could to try to figure out where these kids are, and there's just no evidence. There's nothing. Trying to figure out anything bad that's going on, and I couldn't find anything. At the end of the day, I put it into a memo when I confessed this to her.
How did you take that news?
As big of a betrayal as it sounds and felt in the moment too, I have to look at the entirety of it. And he's recording my conversations, and there's nothing with that. And there's nothing between Chad and Lori that was said that was, this was early in December.
The memo Ian wrote contains headline-grabbing statements that Lori and Chad thought their kids were zombies and might need to die. Do you think that Tylee and JJ were in danger? Do you think that Lori thought they were zombies? Do you think that she thought that their spirits had left them?
I didn't think they were in danger and didn't have those fears and doubts until this welfare check. And then Chad and Lori left. I didn't have contact with them, and I'm absolutely worried.
In the end, Melanie says she still believes the children are safe, despite the fact that nobody has seen or heard from them since September. Do you think you're going to see Tylee and JJ again?
I do. I absolutely do. I know Lori wouldn't ever do anything to hurt her kids.
Now, you might wonder why Melanie and Ian Pawlowski would sit down and talk to us. Well, they wanted to defend Lori Vallow, for one, but Melanie is also in a child custody dispute right now where she has been portrayed as a cult member and an unfit mother, and she wanted to defend herself from those accusations. Jared?
Morgan, you mentioned right off the top, Melanie moved up to Idaho, lived right next to Lori, but never ever saw the kids while she was up there. Didn't that strike her as odd?
Yeah, I asked her that a couple of times. I didn't get a really clear answer, but she did say that Lori told her that the kids were safe and that she was protecting them from people who wanted to harm them.
Did she give any indication as to who might want to harm the kids?
Yeah, so they say that it was Charles Vallow's family and friends that were threatening Lori and threatening to harm the children. Now, we spoke to them and they said they in no way threatened Lori and would never threaten those children.
Yeah, we can only hope that the family's right and that somehow these kids are still okay somewhere. Morgan Lowe, thanks.